Hey guys, what's up? I wanted to spend a few minutes to answer a question that somebody asked me. And the question was, how do I make it through tough times? Um, so I'll give you my own experience, my opinion on how I get through it. Usually, growing up, kind of a lot of bad things going on. Um, we had I guess, a pretty close family, where it's just my mom, my dad, and my sisters. So, and that's all the family we had. So we kind of relied on each other. I think growing up, we had some difficult times, I guess, financially. And usually, when you have trouble financially, or at least in my experience or my opinion, is that a lot of bad stuff tends to happen. But I think what happens is it's bad, I guess, because you put yourself in that situation. But growing up, um, just a lot of bad stuff. I think there's more chances of hanging out with the wrong crowd, doing a lot of bad stuff that you're not supposed to do. Early on, going through all that, it takes a toll on the mindset. Everything starts to be negative. The way people look at you, the way people talk about you, everything seems to be negative. I always thought that somebody was talking about me. I always thought that I wasn't good enough for school or different things that just came across. I think right after high school is whenever I decided, you know what, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. Everyone's always going to have opinions of you, of themselves, and that's just how life is. Growing up, I think you're always going to have somebody that's going to tell you can't do something or you're not good enough, or they're going to have some type of criticism about you. And that's just going to happen. That's just how life is. And that's how I started seeing it, is I noticed that no matter how good somebody's doing, people are still going to talk about them. People are going to find faults in them. And I realized that everyone's going to have their goods and bads, strengths, weaknesses. And it doesn't matter how much money you have, how powerful you are, people are still going to come after you either way. And so I decided, it doesn't matter what anybody says. I don't care what people think about me. I don't care what somebody else says that I can and can't do, because it was all up to me. I held that, I guess, the power to make myself change or hold myself back. And I said, you know what, from now on, I'll never hold myself back. If somebody says something about me, I don't even, it doesn't even bother me. Depending on what they say, I tend to use it as, I guess, motivation. That's how I was. I never worried about what anybody else says, and I don't think if somebody's telling you the same thing, I don't think you should worry about it either, as it really doesn't matter. They can't tell you what you can and can't do. They can't hold you back. You're in control of that. And I think the minute you start to realize that and you focus on how to improve yourself or the goal that you're trying to do, and that's how I do it. I don't worry about what other people say, because I know in life it's always going to happen. It doesn't matter. Until you die, people are going to be talking about you, and even probably after that, people will talk about you. And so that's how I motivate myself, and that's how I kind of get through tough times. I know that's how it is. It's going to happen. People are going to talk, and I don't let it bother me. If I do let it bother me, then it's me that's proving I'm right. And it's the same thought process. Don't worry about what other people say. Don't worry about what other people think of you. Don't worry about if people make fun of what you want to do in life. Don't let somebody else determine your abilities or what you want to do in life, or pursue a dream that you have. I see a lot of people that say, I want to be, this when I grow up. And automatically somebody says, well, you know what? I think you should do this, or I think you should do that because of money, or you're not smart enough. Intelligence isn't something that, I guess, you can be born with it, but it's not something that will limit you. You can always learn new stuff, and that's why they say knowledge is power, because you can always improve. And if you use that, it doesn't matter what people are going to think or about your dream or what you want to do, or or what your limits are, what your weaknesses are. Just always remember, if you're weak at some point, there's ways to improve that. So, all in all, the way I get through tough things is, I just don't worry about it. Life is what it is. I mean, you can sit there and worry about it every day and talk about it and then dwell on it and say, you know what, I wish I would have done this, or if I would have done this, this wouldn't have happened. It's going to happen. It happened. Get through it. Get over it. You're going to have a lot of other times where that's going to happen. Something's bad's going to happen. It's going to pass. You're going to be doing good. Something bad's going to happen. It's repetitive. It's going to happen. And the minute you start thinking about that and realizing that, hey, you know what, it's going to pass, you get over it, it's easier to get over if you know, hey, something bad happened, it's going to pass, I'll get better, and move on from there. That's the biggest thing, and that's what I do. Somebody tells me bad news, or I learn of bad news, or something that I didn't expect to happen happens. I just tell myself, you know what, it's part of life, this is what happened, and learn from it. That's a key point. Learn from what happened and what could have been prevented, and go from there. And that's my advice on how I get through tough things. I could have been more specific if there was a more specific question. It's kind of a general, I guess, opinion. So thanks for watching and thanks for listening. Until next time, thanks guys.